Pope it up.
Dude, I think my balls shifted in size.
Gross.
Yeah, because when I go to pee, they're like, I think they're in a different spot, and I noticed my shit hooks, baby, my shit hooks to the left. Literally, I was pissing the other day. I was like tired, not paying attention. I realized I spent the first 3 seconds of my piss just peeing on the floor. I just peed all over the floor.
It's happened to the best of us.
I'm like, did you just get... I feel like that made me feel older than I've ever felt.
Yeah, it's happened plenty of times. I've done it a couple times where like early pisses or middle of the night pisses, if ever, they always exist with me like sitting down because I don't because I like at this point now I'm not going
Unless
to
you being secure with yourself.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't like to me it's an option. To me, the power doesn't come with being able to stand to piss. It's with the option to stand.
It's letting you know
that's
that
the option.
I choose to stand and piss.
I am just gonna be lazy at this point. I don't want to have to fucking maneuver this thing. So I'm gonna sit down. I'm just gonna dunk it in the water with my balls.
I'm just gonna do a little dunkarooski.
That's one of my favorite things to say at a urinal. Is god damn it. And one of the ones that go all the way to the ground. I go damn it. I'm gonna get AIDS. Implying that my penis hit the inside.
That'd be a hilarious bit to do when you sit in a stall and you have a full bathroom. You just go in your stall, you're like, dick touched the water again, boys.
Damn it, god damn it. My dick dunked in the water. Dunk tank over here.
That was one
I'm
of
the clown.
That was one of the times I crushed the hardest at the Stress Factory because I was doing their open mic and the guy before me was just doing like over the top black guy comedy shit.
Yeah.
And like one of his opening lines, he was just like, you ever go take a shit and your dick touch the water? And so I go up afterwards and I was like, I just immediately go, you ever take a shit, your dick touch the water? I go, absolutely never has that ever happened.
Nope, not even once.
I go, not even once. I was like, what are you talking about?
Not even when my toilet overflowed.
I was like, you don't sit down and it goes back in a little bit. You got to adjust and pull it out.
Pop it out? You ever had to pop it out like that? Hey, you ever had to sit down and pop your dick out like this, too?
You know who never
had to
pop
sit
it out?
forward like this?
You never had to get into sumo squats so you could wipe your whole ass?
No? Okay.
No?
Okay. Cool.
Oh, okay.
Me neither.
I don't think he liked my joke either because it like crushed. I got a bunch of compliments and he was like, oh yeah, that shit was funny, yo.
Yeah.
I was like, you're lying about your dick.
Yeah, you ain't got that dick.
Unless. I go,
Prove it.
Can I see it? Can you see your huge fucking dick?
Prove it.
You know whose shit's touching the water?
Who's this?
The last Pope, dude.
The last Pope?
The last Pope.
The last Pope.
Over here in Chicago, our Pope dicks touch the water, you hear?
Oh, Pope Dynasty over here. I have some questions.
So I didn't know where to start with this. I kind of just took...
Start at the end.
Start at the end? Well, I had like a weird thing, and I want to make it clear. I've talked many a time about my views on religion. I think if you apply a lot of the teachings from a lot of religions, they just seem like really good tips to lead a productive life.
Yeah.
I think it's when people start getting into the weeds.
When people start touching the tips.
And that's when you got to move people around.
That's when you got to bring in the Chicago Pope.
Oh.
Hey, I'm going to straighten up some of you pedophiles over here, okay?
Okay, here's the thing. You jerked off too many kids.
You guys
we got to
touching
bring in Chicago Pope
Get
because you
outta
jerked
here.
off too many kids.
You got to get.
No, I think dude, it all goes back to like Tropic Thunder. It's like you never go full retard. And that's the problem is like...
Wait, what?
Yeah, with religion.
Oh, yeah.
That's where if in all the scenarios when it's just a community chilling and they don't take it overly serious, but they just kind of go through the motions to create productive people and a sense of community, that's when it's chill as fuck.
Yeah.
When you got people like having debates being like, no, my guy existed and did this.
They're like, we can't read the word of God. And they'll go, I'll read it to you.
Yeah.
Just pay me a lot of money.
Yeah, and they're like, no, the things in the book happened exactly. And you're
Yeah.
like, really? A fucking 600-year-old guy fucking tap danced with a 700-year-old guy and did all that other shit?
It says here in this chapter, you've got to get me some soda.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait, what?
Also, yeah, right here it says you have to give me 10% of all of your earnings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, also,
Let me see that.
Also, if we want to raise more money, I'm going to send out fake cards to
Brother.
get you into heaven passes.
Brother, at one point, I know this. Yeah,
That was the video I sent you.
Martin Luther.
You didn't respond to that.
Wait, what?
I sent you doing my Pope research. Oh, no, you did respond later. No, I found this documentary called The Vatican Financial Empire, A Hidden History. And the cover is the Pope and then a clearly Jewish guy holding up a glowing dollar bill. And I text Pat and I just go, Jewish guy holding Jewish guy holding glowing dollar bill? Oh, yeah. I think I'll watch that.
I'm going to get some answers.
But yeah, no, it's like, and I was watching that documentary, and apparently, like, the fucking Vatican had shit back in the day where they were trying to raise money, and they were like, you guys want heaven fast passes?
Yeah.
Give us $20. You'll get into heaven before all the other plebs.
Wasn't that Martin Luther?
I forget the details. I didn't realize how much there was for me to like. I didn't realize. I didn't understand there was so much lore. Around all this, because that's the part. Like so, and we'll break down the last Pope shit in a little bit. But like that actually, the deeper I got into the last Pope stuff, it was boring me because I was like, oh, so you're all saying it's prophecies. So just wait.
Yeah.
And then the shit that I was getting more into was like, I almost want to go out and go buy a Bible. Well, I actually did. We had that podcast way back where I did buy one. But I'm like, I almost want to just go out and buy all the religion's books and go, tell me what the story is. Now, I don't want to hear people talk about it and talk about history, because in a lot of the religion stuff, it's like people being like, no, Catholicism is right. And it's like, no, Protestantism is right, and this and that. And I'm just like, what's your book say, though? Because I texted you about this. Like, when they're talking about all the shit going on in the books, I was like, it just sounds like when someone's explaining the plot of Dune to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like it kind of comes down to where I don't even know if there's any mention of popes in the Bible. And like there's been, I know at least cases in the past where because the king wanted to get a divorce and that wasn't allowed by religion, he rewrote the Bible.
Yeah.
The King James Bible is so that it will allow him to get a divorce. Yep. So like I don't even know if there's, like I said, popes in the Bible. Like there's.
Can you imagine that?
The control
you
that
hate
has
your wife so much.
You're gonna rewrite the holy word of God.
You want to get some more pussy.
But all it did to me was like at that time I would have gone like, oh, this is just exposing the fact that it's all just made up.
Yeah.
It's all just controlled by you because there's no actual like thing. The way I feel about prophecies are they're discovered in hindsight.
Yeah.
So they go like a lot of the stuff I was trying to find was like Nostradamus and stuff was tied into it. And Nostradamus is like, a guy in a hat in a desert will kill people. And they're like, that was Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, they had
And then they go later on, they go, also Osama bin Laden.
And they had
he says the towers will fall in. And then, but they keep out the part where it's like that makes it total bullshit. They just listen. And that's religion. Religion is prophecies. Religion is all this other bullshit, but it's just a guy in a hat will make the earth shake.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Well, so and this is why I like from a functionality standpoint for like normal people, because like this is why I want to actually go back and just read their books.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I told you, I was reading Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules to fucking eventually do benzos and go crazy and be pro-Israel. And like if you read that book, it's like I was like, dude, it's just really good. If you're just a young dude, get that book. It's a very good broad outline on how to just be a productive member of society. And then I'm like, what if this, gets locked in a tomb in 3,000 years. Someone finds they're like holding it up as like the magical word, and I'm like, that feels like what the Bible could be.
We're like, if you think about it, it's basically people think they end up like worshiping whatever like kind of like ends up. What are we accidentally prophesizing for ourselves? Like later on, they're gonna be like, they worshiped plastic. Like there was just plastic everywhere. They loved plastic, and it's like, no, it just doesn't biodegrade. Like that's just the only thing we actually like. At what is really never really gets passed on, I feel like, is like the things that we learn.
Yeah.
The things that we act, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that kind of goes into, I'm glad you said that because I was losing my trail of thought. You hopped in at the exact perfect time. I was saying nonsense. But that's what I was realizing, where it's like looking at these things is like, what if these are just really old fucking books that just ripped?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like the same way where like, I think when you start taking it all very literally, that's when you start fucking up, where it's like, it actually seems like this tool to like, take the lessons from the stories, because I realized I was like, one of the reasons I like watching like Dragon Ball Z is it's not just cool action. It's like there's something about Goku being like incorruptible. It's the same reason I like, I know it's the same reason I like Captain America.
That's why we like superheroes.
No matter what you do, Captain America will be Captain America. And I'm sure there's a nerd being like, well, actually. But regardless, and I go, honestly, if you just like, you know how people would have a what would Jesus do? Legitimately, unironic, if you went through your day and said, what would Goku do? If you watched all of Dragon Ball Z
what would Goku
and
do?
You said, what would Goku do? You would live a productive life.
Yeah.
And it's not to shit on religion. It's more so to like, honestly, it's probably to shit on organized religion, because it goes back to my thing before. It's like, if you go full retard, if you go 100% on that, you're going to get fucked up and you're going to be debating over like all this bullshit.
Yeah, I think there's a true religion is an accepting religion, a truly accepting religion, which I think the only
and a cool clothing brand for black people.
Yeah, but I also feel like it's also the only one that really exists is kind of like Buddhism, because like all of these other ones are so restricting and so controlling, whereas Buddhism doesn't seem to have that.
What's the broad tenets of Buddhism?
You can be anything. You can be a Catholic and be Buddhist.
Really?
Yeah, they literally accept anybody. It's a thing where like it is disconnecting yourself from material goods and materialistic life.
That makes sense, because a lot of these other religions,
whereas like this guy, they got funny hat dudes and people drink. The whole last Pope legacy or prophecy was created, I believe, driven completely by spite, because it was a guy. It was the Saint Malachi.
Well, so let's
So
I wanted the Buddhist thing, because like a lot of, and I think that is the benefit of why you see a lot of these like organized religions putting a lot of effort in keeping the fucking thing going, is like, because that's what the government's always trying to figure out control. It's like there's always this like predator class of people that are figuring out how to control you.
Religion and government they always have that like fucking connecting hand of like they're able to control us together by either, so like the people that are, it's the same control, it's the same overall hand, but it looks like it's two different decisions.
Well, you know what the funny thing is,
in the tube thing.
Yeah, he's always doing a weird thing over there. Well, the funny thing is too, when you get into socialist societies specifically, they actually have a thing in socialist societies that one of their goals is to get rid of religion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the government ends up becoming the religion.
Right.
Because the government can't, like, the big problem with socialist societies, like, one of the main core reasons why they don't really work out when you go full retard and go full socialist is because you can't fix prices. You need a capitalist system to create supply and demand so you can understand prices. And then in like socialism, you keep going down this road of like, there's just a guy who's like, don't worry, we got it. And you just start spinning plates. And then people start realizing, they're like, hey man, why is things getting fucked up? And then there's a person who goes like, hey man, why are things getting fucked up? And then someone hops in, they'll just be like, they're actually not fucked up, and then those people get like banished or something like that, and then it slowly becomes this thing where everyone kind of knows it's not real, but they know they're going to get fucked up and they're going to break the rules if they don't acknowledge this fake reality. And like religion, organized religion does a very similar thing.
That's the illusion. The illusion is the separation of church and state. It's not necessarily. It is separated.
Well, in what we have now, in a socialist, they get completely rid of religion.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they turn into a religion.
Well, that's why they don't succeed, because you're not going to be able to control everybody that way. You're going to have some people that are going to be more drawn by faith or religion.
And also, you can't fix prices.
Yeah. So
it's also just a pure economic factor. You can't fix prices.
So, but the separation of church and state is the illusion of saying like, no, come over here where it's fair. We could be either one, but they're just two different hands that are controlling you.
I will say
saying?
this.
Like you have the separation, but once you see like this is the connection to it is you have a politician going to churches and that being like a news story, and then you also have religious leaders visiting the White House. Rome is its own country.
Yeah,
like it's each one of these things, like the Vatican and stuff like that. It's like it is able to govern itself. So it's not a separation. It's a separation like this is a separation of my right hand or my left hand. That's
sure. What I was going to add to that is in some areas, like you see it way more in left-wing areas now. Not so much like back in the day, because like when we were younger, everyone was religious.
Yeah.
So you see in these left-wing areas.
It was just which one. Yeah, that was the news story.
Well, because also, too, the reason, like, when you have a more religious society, the reason that, like, the separation of church and state doesn't work, it's why all those, like, it's why all those Hasids in Brooklyn during COVID were still doing whatever, because they're like, you think this is above God's law? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the state has more power to implement their law. So rather than beating them, they go, what if we just control it? I will say there is another version of it where you see it more with like left-wing people where they try to get religion out of there, but then when the more they become in control, they just start functioning the exact same way.
Yeah.
So in their place, they're like, oh, I'm going to get rid. It's like when you see someone who's, like, have you seen those people who, like, they go on and on about how they hate racism, and then they're like, what are you going to do about it? And then they end up saying, like, just as racist stuff, but on the flip side and shit like that, where they'll be like how it did, like, a full circle, and there's people now saying, like, there's like a full circle to fight racism. We have to have segregated areas. Like they did it with those protests and stuff.
A classic overcorrect.
Yeah, you see a lot of times people will be like, I fucking hate this, and then in the long run they just become what they hate.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's just like I think it becomes like the reason I think Buddhism is kind of the one that I've always been really the one that of any religion as far as community wise, like what you're talking about, and also like and better like self-improvement.
Yeah.
I feel like is one of the only ones that truly does kind of stand out is because it's like you can be practicing and you can be really any religion. You don't have to get baptized. You don't have to do any of that stuff, but it's like the thing that it's teaching is not just to be not materialistic, but just to be more considerate of life.
Yeah.
Of everything. So like it's a thing where like I don't think as far as like it's of any one of them, I think is the only one that I haven't heard any like backlash. You know what I'm saying? Like that I haven't heard any conspiracy theory. And like that's what I'm saying is like it becomes this like it becomes a religion or a another politic.
Whenever
like
I see Buddhism, it always has the it always has the broad vibe of when you ever see those like the dudes who promote stoicism, and all the stoicism stuff sounds nice, but everyone who promotes it just has this douchey energy.
Yeah,
I feel like real Buddhism. Whenever I see it, I feel like it's the similar vibe, devoid of the douchiness.
It's just consideration. It's one of those things where like I think a lot of times. And this is why I think that like Catholicism or Christianity in like the individual dose like person to person isn't dangerous, but it is when it gets the group or the power of one organization. Because if you go in to do a confessional, like it's kind of determined. Like at one point, there was so much power in the popism or in the Catholic Church or churches in general.
Palpable?
Any religion where like you could go into a confession booth and they could like kind of use it against you, or like there's been shady people in these religions. So like religion, the doctrine essentially is what is the key, but like it's in this case in particular, it feels like it's been abused a lot more than like Buddhism or something. You can't really abuse that so much.
Yeah, I think like it goes back to the thing like I was saying, like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, and then if you go like you think what would Goku do, or just extrapolate the lessons where you're like, oh, be a good, because you watch Dragon Ball Z is so good at this kind of shit because Goku's just like a good guy who doesn't have an ego. And, like, he's the guy who usually ends up saving the day. And he's not striving to be the number one dude in the fucking universe. He just ends up being that because he doesn't have an ego and he's just trying to help people out.
Yeah.
Vegeta, on the flip side, his whole thing is like, I'm going to... What?
He's the green guy?
That's Piccolo.
Sorry.
Vegeta's the Saiyan that always looks angry. Look him up, yeah. Sorry. Vegeta, his thing, I realized...
Oh, he's the white guy.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Why'd you sound happy?
Wait. Frieza. Oh, who's Frieza?
Frieza's the alien.
Sorry.
Oh, Frieza's literally white.
Okay.
Vegeta has white skin.
That him?
That is not him.
Why don't you just look up a guy?
Wait.
Is that how you say Vegeta?
Samuel DeLuke?
I'm not going to put... I was going to show
Pat typed Vegeta, and it just brought up a Spanish YouTuber with a different name.
That's not Vegeta.
Oh, wait. Online, he's known as Vegeta777.
Got it.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I'm going to put Dragon Ball Z.
But you put Vegeta.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they not do the Vegeta guy before him? Google.
Wait. Who's Goku then?
Goku's the
Is
one
that
who's
Vegeta
always...
or Goku?
That's Vegeta. Goku's the one who's always wearing orange. Anyway. You don't need to know any of these things.
Oh, okay. Damn.
I love how you'll stop something until you're
I'm
like...
that unfamiliar. I'm really that unfamiliar with it. No, when you're saying that, I'm like, I can't picture these guys.
It's so funny, though. You're like, no. We will wait till I am caught
Hold
up on inconsequential information.
No, that's very consequential.
But anyway, so Vegeta, the reason I love his character is he's so much more nuanced. I peg him as the world's ultimate hater.
Yeah.
So, like, there's been scenarios where Vegeta will be really strong. Like, dude, one episode, Goku could have died. Vegeta hops in, saves the day, lets Goku survive purely because he's like, no, I want him to get better so I can kill him, so I can be the top Saiyan. And because of how he acts, Vegeta's always like taking a bad situation and making it worse.
Honor and discipline.
And so like yes, exactly. So if you see that shit and sort of internalize it, it can, and like you take it seriously, you can actually look at Dragon Ball Z and it can turn you into a better person.
There is a religion based on the dude from The Big Lebowski. It's called Dudeism.
Oh, that's great.
And it honestly, it's if you are not supposed to practice too much.
But can you imagine the same way a certain type of group, if they hear that you're drawing their favorite guy, can you imagine if Dragon Ball Z fans were like, are you guys trying to draw Goku? You're like, nah, we're having a bad time.
Yeah. If I was trying to draw Goku, we'd have a bad time.
They're like, that's Vegeta! Pow, 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 pow.
Is that Piccolo?
That's not Piccolo, you piece of shit!
Brother, if Lemaire was here, I would be dead. You understand that?
Oh, yeah.
If I noticed
he'd flip the table.
Yeah, he would have fucking killed me.
Dude, you're shitting on religion and you don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z? Oh, Lemaire'd have a fucking curvy sword to your throat.
So in 11, so I think overall, I think the materialistic ways that I think Catholicism at least strayed to. Let's say it started out perfectly, like straight and narrow, just religion, good concept, meant
just
well.
A bunch of people, acoustic guitar, hanging out.
Let's say even before guys are rewriting the books so they can get divorces, all that other shit. Let's just say so 1139. In the Malachi
that
was
late at night, guys. Guys.
It was it was just before lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
He was just getting ready for lunch, and he was on his way.
I'm sorry. I'm so proud
No,
of
I just wanted to tag it, and we just got 2 fun dad jokes for you. Like and subscribe. Pew, 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 pew.
Dad late at night. God,
So-
good job, Andy.
1139. Malachi was going to visit the Pope Innocent II. Was his name?
Wait, that was his name?
Yeah.
You're like, hi, I'm Pope, super fucking cool.
I'm Pope. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like they got so crime ridden that they were like, no, I'm the good Pope.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm the good Pope.
I'm gonna go to Pope.
I'm the good Pope.
Once you like start telling people where you're like, no, this book is real.
No, Pope, good guy.
Once you start telling people that the book's real, it becomes the most beautiful mechanism to control them.
I am the Pope, honorary, believable, and trustworthy, the 4th.
I am the Pope, 8 inches soft, the 3rd.
We're being honest here. We're being honest.
An extra
We'll
hard.
take you at your word.
+1 hard, the 4th.
Those are our Pope napkins.
Where the Pope? I don't know why this is the Pope.
I was
I
gonna
just
blow
yes
my
and your
nose.
thing.
I was just gonna blow my nose later. So in 1139, he was going to visit. He was on his way during a 2-year journey. He saw the poor. He saw disease. He saw suffering. Followers of the church that until he reached the Vatican, where he
Every fucking 5 minutes.
brother up or down.
Up or down, pick one, dude.
So he finally got to the Vatican after 2 years of journeying through all these disgusting folks. And he was disgusted by the luxury and the opulence at the church. He ran away with disgust because when he got to the church, he was just like, wait a minute. All these people are following you and they're just suffering and you're just
Taking
here
all
in the
their
lap of
money.
luxury. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing? What are you actually doing?
Yeah.
So this is the guy that invented the last Pope prophecy. Just saying.
Oh, so he got real pissy.
This
He's
is the
like,
guy who invented the Pope prophecy.
Mm.
So like immediately, nobody I will say that I discovered online is at all taking this with a grain of salt. As the guy that was like, I had to walk through 2 years of these fucking poor, diseased, disgusting fucks that love you. I get here, and then you're just like sitting here covered in gold, like, and I think in that moment became super jaded and super disjointed, and said, guess what? I'm gonna name and allegedly prophesized every pope from then on completely correctly. By the way, he's way off.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't know if you noticed that. And like
I
I
this
noticed
is where I gotta
so
give-
many holes in this goddamn thing. Did you also want to see?
I was gonna say this is where I got to give you credit because like when you bring the detailed structure, you're much better at researching that. I get a broad sense of it, but props on the research, brother.
This is like it's so crazy to me. I'm gonna see if I can airdrop this to myself.
You know what was the other thing?
I'll show
when I
you
was,
the portrait of Innocent the Second.
You know what it's like when I was going through, I was listening to just people talk about religious shit, and I was just like, and I'm not trying to like, I don't have a dog in the fight. It doesn't make me happy if I'm just like, oh, religion's not fucking real. I don't care like that. Like, I don't have the dog in the fight.
That's Innocent the Second.
But when they were, that's Innocent the Second. That's like fucking.
I'm Innocent the Second. And I will say this: the main issue, and this is a problem for any prophecy or any conspiracy in general. If I'm getting you on the math,
It looks like a South Park cartoon.
I'm telling you right now, this is the 164th Pope.
Yeah.
Is Innocent the Second. The Pope legacies, by the way, the Pope lineage overall, there's some guys that have like 22 days
Yeah.
as Pope.
La Popes.
Like super like yeah, they're LA Popes. They're in and out. But there's but when he ran away, he while retreating into the woods, he received a vision or a prophecy of all the popes that were to follow until the last pope, Peter the Roman, the pope that would reign as Rome burned, 112 popes were named total.
Yeah.
So this is where this is the issue, right? So that guy is Pope 164, and overall, there's been 266 popes.
That's. I mean,
He's way off by the number. There wasn't even 112 more popes. That's what I'm saying. He's
There's
like
been 42 WrestleManias. What are you getting at? I don't know, 41.
Saint Bishop Malachi said the 112th pope will be named Peter the Roman, and actually it was, and he'll.
Oh! Sorry, I was more thinking of jokes rather than listening. So
Oh.
he said on the 112th. Wait, so he's just getting the math wrong on popes?
Like everything is wrong with it. This prophecy. I'm poking holes all over this prophecy.
So I was kind of getting at this earlier, but like so much of this stuff, it always just reminds me of different TV shows. And like what you're doing now with like The Last Pope, it reminds me of like when WWE put out their Ruthless Aggression documentary.
Yeah.
And like they put out their Ruthless Aggression documentary, and they were talking about changing the name, and they're like, yeah, we just thought it was like a different time. We just thought it was important to have a different name. And it's like, no, you lost a court case to a panda. We can look it up.
Yeah.
We know this. And it all just seems like, have you heard the Last Pope story? And other people are like, yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And then, because wrestling fans do that, by the way, they will go like, they'll be like, dude, wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy if, like, this is when, like, I remember seeing this a bunch. They'd be, like, before CM Punk came back, they'd be like, wouldn't it be crazy if CM Punk came back at this pay-per-view? And then they'd be like, that would be crazy. And then they'd go to the next guy. They're like, I heard CM Punk's coming back at this pay-per-view. And you're like,
Yeah, no.
you made that up.
Yeah,
and
you
it had, like, this has the same
Did you
energy.
hear? Everybody's really excited to see Punk at this one.
Yeah,
You're like,
and then,
no,
like,
you just asked it.
This has the same energy of just like, dude, it's crazy. He predicted all those. And you're like, well, do the dates line up? And you're like, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. So he said the last pope would be. So everybody thought, even the prophecy lined up to say the last pope would be the last one we had before Chicago Pope.
Yeah.
What he said, the last pope would be Peter the Roman. This pope was named
Peter the Roman?
This pope was from Argentina, and his name was Francis. So it's like you're not even close.
So funny, dude. That rules so hard.
So even the one that they're saying, oh no, this is the guy. So this is the chronological list of popes. There's one that was 34 years, 12 years. Like most of them are in the years, right? But then there's some popes that are like 4 years, 11 to 12 years, 8 to 9 years. Some of them they don't even know. But this is like 109, the year 109 or 189. Excuse me. Let's see, where 143 days. Like some of so they end up getting a better like accurate like timeline later on. But St. Julius, it looks like, was 66 days.
Okay.
Or no, 15 years, 66 days.
Are you saying there's way more popes than this guy predicted?
Way more.
Okay.
He said there would be 122 popes. There's 266 popes as of right now.
He's double wrong.
He's way double wrong. So that's what I'm saying is like even the ones that are saying like, no, it was Francis. That's wrong. So
Yeah.
now I will say that if you think that this pope that we have right now is the last pope, that would almost hold water because Peter the Roman, his name, I think he
Peter?
chose
Peter the Roman. You said it like Peter.
yeah, he chose something different, but he is technically he's from America,
Yeah.
and America is considered like the
Number one.
the Rome of our lifetime, essentially.
Yeah.
Like modern day Rome.
Yeah, because we're going to start butt fucking too much and crumble.
Exactly. Like I think that's essentially what they're saying is like, but did you hear?
It's just yardstick moving, though.
But did you hear about the eerie legend with the portraits at St. Paul's Cathedral or Basilica? Sorry.
No.
So
It's too much lore.
that's what I'm saying is like, even they're
I haven't seen the side shows.
part of
The side TV shows.
part of the
Just the movies.
part of the lore that I heard about this particular thing was the portraits. Like there were a specific number of portraits that were laid out on the walls of the basilica
Yeah.
that were empty. There's only one empty frame left. But that's Wrong. There are so many more. I'll show you right here. There's like, this is what I'm saying is like, how can you have a running prophecy or conspiracy theory that is factually inaccurate?
Dude, you get that with
In the tour. I'm going to show you right here.
Yeah,
Look.
yeah.
This is crazy. This is the walls of the basilica. This is essentially, these are all the portraits that
Brother,
kind
I
of,
gotta give you. You're such a good researcher.
they lined the walls of it, right? And this is
Yeah.
right after this fucking dork right here, Francis.
He's the guy who just got KO'd.
somebody took this picture. Yeah, this is the guy that just got KO'd. And then we're on to our next Mortal Kombat thing. This is the last person in the pillar.
We're going up to Mortal Kombat Tower.
Right here, right? So this is where old Chicago Pope's gonna go. But there's a whole other row. There's plenty. This is like rings on the Stanley Cup. There's always switching them out.
Another wall. There's a whole other wall.
Every single thing every string that you pull at this that on this conspiracy just unravels completely as soon as you just tug a little bit.
That's like, I can't remember what it was specifically, but there was like a modern day conspiracy I saw people trying to develop. And like people do that all the time with these, where like they were like, look, that's clearly a different person. I go,
Yeah.
that guy has the same face.
When they say like Obama and the devil have the same number of letters as like it's like, and you just go like 1, 2, 3, 13, and you're like, no, this is 13, this is 11, and you're like, if I'm getting you on these. If I'm getting you on the math, you have failed.
That's like with the Big Mike conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because they'll always show this video of Michelle Obama on like Ellen or something. And they'll be like, look at her dancing. Look at her big fat dick swinging. And then like it's been outed where it's like, that's just a doctored video.
Yeah.
And then they'll show you other pictures. You're like, look, right there. There's her big black dick. And you're like, I don't see anything, dude.
The prophecy predicts.
All that being said, I get she's ugly, but she's an ugly woman.
Yeah, that's an ugly woman. The prophecy predicts Judgment Day after Pope Francis dies. But also, the math comes out to the year 2027. So, was he supposed to live it? Nobody is backing up any of these. Like, they're failing at a Jehovah's Witness level of prophecy. They cannot stay up with, like, they're like, yeah, but then Pope Francis is going to die at 20. What, is he dead? He's dead right now? Shit. Well, no, but there's only one picture frame left. And they're like, no, there's a whole row. If you just walk into that room over there, there's a whole empty room.
There's a whole wall of picture frames?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. We have a lot left?
So we got to kill like 72. We have to kill 72 popes in the next 2 years.
I mean,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but we have a thing set up where we just put more in every time Pope
just
dies.
stop prophesizing.
Yeah.
You're not good at prophesizing. Hey,
Well, that's like
the last pope. I would love if the last pope was American, but I don't think there's going to be a last. I don't know if there's ever going to be a last pope.
Well, it goes back to you're saying with the prophesizing. It's like how like every fucking 6 months they'll be like, there's a giant meteor with a whatever % chance of killing us all.
Yeah.
And I go, what am I gonna do?
It just went up to 23.47%, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll just sit here on that day no matter what.
Yeah, and then it's like the same thing with like the fucking prophecies.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
it's like,
last pope, got it.
well, dude, it's so funny too because like, you know what it is? It's why I'm gonna learn more about Buddhism because you really sold me on it in this, and it's
That could
like
be our next episode.
it's why
It's religion month.
it is religion. It is religion month. We could talk about how
This pope shit's boring as fuck. They don't know how to do shit.
Oh, dude,
this shit sucks.
We could even be like the Buddha boys that month. It's like a fucking dick, Chris.
Hey,
I
fuckhead.
stole your man.
Jeff Foxworthy, not you. That's the one pointing the
I
camera.
stole your fucking man, dude. No, but like the Buddha thing, because I think the reason people get swept up in this shit, you see it with everything. You see it why people get caught up in conspiracies, caught up in politics. People just want someone real confident telling them they know what's going on.
Yeah,
because
everyone they're scared.
But then when you see with Buddhism is like, from what I've gathered, it's a real. It is what it is, dude.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you're gonna die.
And that's kind of beautiful where you're like become content with that and you actually become harder to control because you're like, yeah, man, I'm content with death and the fact that everything's fucking crazy. Like, I'm not trying to solve every world's problem. Mm-hmm. So your shit seems kind of fucking gay, so I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah. I would be totally down to explore Buddhism in general until we get more, again, this is the research era 2.0, where we're doing it from now on, and we're doing subjects and events.
All the things that constitute reality. That's so funny how you label it.
We have to keep it going, but like
Subjects and
But like if for some reason if we don't have a religion month and we can throw in like let's just talk about this one time, and so we can spark another month.
You know what we could do next month?
What?
Things and stuff.
Next month. Yeah. No. We already have a theme.
Subjects and events is crazy.
I just wanted to foolproof it so we had things going for forever. That way.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, like
because movies was great. I would love to do movies forever.
Yeah,
but
we could definitely when
that's
things
so
get
limiting.
when things get too serious, dude.
back
Wouldn't
to
it be
movies.
funny? Wouldn't it be funny if at the end of Religion Month I come on here with like
movies.
I come on with like a big hat and curls, and you're in like a turban, and we're like fighting
I'm just
each
like
other.
meditating. Yeah. we mini nuke each other.
You become Muslim, I become Jewish. We just start fighting.
There's only one true religion.
No, the other thing with like, because I was listening to a podcast that they were playing a clip of Glenn Beck, and he was like the thing I keep getting caught up with religion when they're talking about like the day-to-day shit, or they'll like they talk about like this is why I want to learn more about the Vatican specifically, because like whenever they talk about religion, once again it reminds me of like wrestling. Like in wrestling, this is what wrestling does so well. They build up a faction. Like, oh, the NWO is in WCW. And they're like, the NWO runs WCW. And you're like, what does that mean? Do you guys like book the show?
Yeah.
And
Are they really spray painting everybody's back like that?
Yeah, but like obviously Hulk Hogan could book his own self and yada yada.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like the characters on the show, they're like the NWO runs WCW, and you're like, what does that mean? They're like, it means we run it. No, like, what do you do?
Yeah. Be specific.
Yeah, and it's like
elaborate.
And then once it's like when they're about to get specific, it's like, oh, here comes Macho Man with a chair.
Yeah.
And it's like this. It felt like the same thing with religion.
Yeah.
Where I was like hearing all this stuff about the Vatican, and I was like, what do you do though? And it all just felt like, well, we spread the word of God, and I'm like, then what?
Yeah, but that's what all those other what all those other churches do.
And then what? But I'm sure, like with the Vatican, there's probably Catholic people being like, well, actually, I get it. There's the actually, but it just feels very like wrestling.
They invented a Mecca. Like that's essentially the same thing. Like how a bunch of Muslims go to that big black box out there.
That was so funny.
They go visit the big. They go visit the big router out there in the Middle East.
They
just they do the mosh pit around it. They go fucking Wi-Fi. What's the password? They keep looking for the password. They're running around the. Big
I was just gonna say that. Yeah. They keep running to the back, but no one knows where the back of it is.
Where's it? Where is it?
Actually, the router is on an app on your phone.
I will share it with all of you right now.
But yeah, it was like
turn your Wi-Fi on.
Like I was hearing this clip of religious shit's so fascinating to me because it does feel like professional wrestling if they didn't know that the dudes just like hung out in the back and had beers together.
Yeah.
Because I hear Glenn Beck being like, "There's a war going on in the Vatican." I go, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, shut the fuck.
And he's like,
although
it's going on though.
I think the Vatican in particular is something that would be right up your alley. That could be another week.
See, no,
we'll do Buddhism week. We'll do Vatican week. So because you in particular love conspiracy theories, and the Vatican archives apparently hold a ton of secrets.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
and essentially that's where this alleged last
this
bullshit wonky ass last pope fucking prophecy. And if that's the kind of shit you're fucking storing in there, open up the gates because you're fucking wasting everybody's time.
We're good though. I watched a girl on YouTube today.
What happened now?
Well, she was talking about the last pope, and she was talking about all the stuff in the Vatican.
Yeah.
But lucky for us, she's a remote viewer.
Well, okay, so she's been there.
She's seen it.
All right, so lay it on me, Daddy.
Well,
What'd she say?
She said it's real bad.
She's gonna share every story specific.
She said
she's
there's
not gonna
a
do
lot-
some Nostradamus bullshit where she's like, a guy in a fucking
You know what
wearing
she's-
glasses is gonna walk across the street, and then something's gonna see. I told you it was him.
You know what she said there was?
It was John Lennon.
So she said,
I predicted that. Yep, that was me.
the last it's literally in Saint Mickey 17th thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, hippie will shoot John Lennon. No, she said she remote viewed and she said there's just a bunch of crazy stuff.
Cool. I love that. It's cool that she got in there and she just went, whoa.
Oh, do you remember?
I'm gonna take none of this in. Goodbye. Cool that you viewed it. But did you actually remote see anything? I mean, did you remote intake a
She's like,
goddamn
I remote
factoid?
viewed it. I didn't remote remember it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, can we remote DVR this, or can you get a body camera when you do this?
Dude, doing these are so funny because
Stupid
like you
bitch.
make those jokes and then you remember people who listen to us like conspiracies and you're like, no, I'm not trying to offend the remote viewing crowd.
No, I'm telling you, it's the same thing with religion. Anything, I think there's truth in this, like cryptids, aliens, all that. There's something real somewhere
There's so
in there.
much bullshit
But
around
it's gotten to the point where the exact example you gave earlier of that. Wouldn't it be cool if CM Punk showed up? And then
Yeah.
did you hear? Everybody's
Well,
talking
dude,
about
you
CM
see
Punk
it-
might show up here.
You see it so much
You
where
want
they're like,
to like wish it into reality.
yeah, well, you see it so much where it's like people who are psychics. They're like, I can see the future. I'm a psychic. I know what you're thinking. And I was like, can you show us in a way that isn't under your very specific parameters?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I can never show it to you in that way.
I have faith in things paranormal, not religion though. And that's the thing is like religion falls on the paranormal spectrum, but it doesn't necessarily, it's not because you're still believing in ghosts and all that stuff. I never really realized that until just recently. But like there's a level of like I've experienced things I can't explain before.
yeah.
Otherworldly thing, not otherworldly, but
Like
things
one
where,
time you were like, I can't finish this 10th hot dog.
I was like, wait a minute,
I can't explain. What the
I dressed the dog.
I normally
I put it on my plate.
I always eat 10 in the morning.
I'm part of the clean plate
Why
club.
am I full by 9?
So yeah, it doesn't. Not everything makes sense, but I have faith. You know.
You're about to make a real point.
No. That's the essential thing. Is like
I'm making fun of myself.
is having that actual like experience is one thing, but like putting if I became one of those people that only was like paranormal and cryptid stuff or conspiracy stuff like that,
Yeah.
you get too bogged down. You have to realize when also the Saint Malachi, by the way, was Irish. So
Okay.
you're telling me he's not a bitter drunk? He goes, I go see the fucking Pope, and he's sitting there covered in gold. So I just sit
dude.
there and I walk behind him. I say, I met all your deceased followers out there, you Pope, you piece of shit
You
Pope.
stupid fucking Pope.
And then he said, oh, why don't you get out of here? You can't have any of our wine. And I said, I walked 2 years to see you, Pope, you piece of shit Pope.
Well, dude, if it was
like fucking Sinead O'Connor ripped up the picture of the Pope.
yeah.
Piece of shit Irish don't like him.
Piece of shit Pope.
You're lying on Pope name. You're off by like 140 popes, dude, in 10 years. Like you're either off by either 2 years, or 10 years, or like 40 popes. 140 popes, I think. Like he's none of this prophecy makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just imagining
You
like
have
you're
to
doing
look into this.
you're doing research and Dom walks in. They're like, "How's it going, Pat?" You're just like, "Too many popes.
This is like 266
Too many popes."
2,000 years of popes. and that's why like I actually did in a group chat with my mom and my wife, I said I'm researching popes, and she's like, researching popes? And I was like,
She's like, "Yeah, this fucking fat
the
Reddit,
last one.
this fat Reddit guy tricked me into doing term papers for him."
I will say though, this one I would probably get an F on, but I'd be so proud of that F because I'm like, this is bullshit. There's nothing here. There's no fucking meat on this goddamn last Pope prophecy. I cannot believe it. And really, what it is, it's clickbait. Because
Yeah.
all the shit on it, the clickbait thing, it's like you ever seen the hillbilly guys with the big beards sitting around the table
Duck
podcasting?
Dynasty?
They look like the young Dick Dynasty guys. Why are we both saying it weird? Dick
I
Dynasty.
said it right. You said it. You said
Dick Dynasty.
I said Duck Dynasty. You got Dick on the brain.
Dick Dynasty.
You said Dick Dynasty. You're the one asking for a Dick Dynasty.
But there's like a couple of these like YouTuber guys that I see their reels all the time, and they're like, "Did you hear about this last Pope thing?" And they're just
Oh yeah,
they're
I've
just
seen
not
them.
telling parts of the story that are obviously bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen those. Aren't they like a little younger than us?
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, can you believe this? And it's the last Pope, and there's only one picture. That was a picture
Well,
frame.
that's why we
That's
have-
where I heard about the picture frame thing, and I was like, oh, let me check it out. And I was like, nope, there's so many more.
That's where we have. That's
It's,
why
like
we
I said,
have,
it's like the Stanley Cup.
That's why we have the best conspiracy podcast, because there's like so many people. Well, here's the thing: we're stupid and we don't think about making money.
Yeah.
They think about making money, so they go, "Oh, we have." To,
we're gonna fucking clickbait the shit out of this thumbnail.
oh,
We're gonna be the last Pope? Question mark.
It's just gonna
Look,
be
hold on,
Pat. It's
hold
gonna
on.
be Pat with a sword going, "Too many popes."
We got to get our screenshots now.
They will. Those are actually gonna be great.
Yeah.
That is something. I hate the fucking. Oh my god, modern life's hell.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not.
Content sucks.
No, you know what it is.
I really hate content. If you guys are watching anything else on the internet besides us, you're really stupid.
You're really
Sorry.
fucking up.
I'm sorry, guys.
gotta be- it's
There's
gotta
like
be
2 or 3.
Dish. No, you watch Dish.
Watcher's pretty good. You ever watch Watcher TV?
What's that?
It's a lot of ghosts and paranormal stuff.
I mainly watch
Slapped Ham.
Mojo top 10 lists.
Slapped Ham. I like the.
What?
I liked.
Slap your ham?
No, it's called Slapped Ham.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a countdown paranormal show.
Love a good countdown channel.
Also, Nuke's top 5. Also, GQ actors breaking down their favorite roles. I've really been into that lately.
That's really fun, actually.
Yeah.
Also, I found an architecture channel where rich actors take you around their house,
Yeah.
and you go, "I'll never have this."
Yeah. These are the channels and this. That's it. If you guys are watching anything else, maybe also No More and Panties.
Panties, yeah. Watch Panties. Watch this. Watch.
Anything else, you guys are
Drag the
wasting your
Lake.
time. You're wasting your fucking time because they're lying to you guys. They're fucking lying to you. And if you just look into it for one whole entire Thursday on your couch with your cats,
It's just you.
it's so easy.
It's
to
just
get to
you
the
in your
bottom.
underwear in between games of Fortnite.
It's so boring. It's like it's so easy to get
It's
to
just
the bottom.
you. It's just you on your phone being like, "There's too many pups." Oh, we're dropping in.
Oh yeah, whole shit. I didn't even realize the bus was gone. I didn't even fucking. Where are we anyway?
Nah, I don't know.
I'm killing it with Fortnite.
What should we do next week?
Buddhism
'cause
or
I-
Vatican? Who-
Maybe we do Buddhism.
I'm down for either.
I don't know, because I would. All this stuff is actually. I would like to stay on religion for a minute, because going into this stuff, I used to like not care even a little bit, because I was always just like. I was always like, none of this is real. Who cares? But then when you like realize like
Some of it might be real.
when you, or it might be based off like I think like, well, you know, there's things Jesus did lined up with people in real life, and it's like, yeah, a lot of books are based off real people,
So like
or
philosophy.
a lot of books are inspired by real people, but like just by the sheer fact that you're like, but also at the same time, like you're saying, some of it could be true, and then you mix that with how much it truly affects everyone's lives, plus the fact that I'm starting to get hunches on what it actually is, but
Yeah.
because we have so much time in between then and now, how people interpret it.
there's
There's so many implications on it because of like, and I'll let you say your thing, but there's so many fucking implications on it because it's like there's so much we do day to day. Like I to this day function a certain type of way because I got brought up Catholic. It's ingrained in you, and if that's based off an ancient version of the Lord of the Rings, that's hilarious.
yeah, yeah. No, it's literally. I think religion is just philosophy gone wild.
Well,
Or philosophy gone wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Or
it's,
I think
they're
it-
good ideas. There's good stories, but it's overall, it's like if you're willing to kill somebody over an idea or a belief you have, I think it's not
kind of a jerk.
Yeah, you're kind of a piece of shit, and like no matter if you're right or not.
But also it could be, and this is why I think the whole taking it literally is such a bad route, because there's a lot of philosophers like Dostoevsky, Albert Camus, who they write a lot of just like narrative fictional stories, but they put their philosophy in those
Right.
stories. That's why I think
That's religion.
what?
That's religion. That's the
But no,
Bible.
you're saying philosophy gone wrong. I think it's also just like philosophy misinterpreted. I think it's also on top of that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where you're like, it's you taking the ball and running with it. It's you
Yeah.
going like, well, because we believe in this and this and this.
Yeah.
How could you ever not believe in us? And it's just like this. It's the same, brother. It's the same mentality as somebody going to a fucking football game or a baseball game and fighting somebody else in the crowd. It's like, you're nuts. You
Yeah.
are fighting for other grown men wearing jerseys. Like you're not fighting for a team or like you have no connection to
Yeah.
it. And if you really think about it, it's the same way that super nationalistic people get. It's the same way super Republican or Democrat people get. It's every
the
single
team
thing
mentality.
where you go like where I'm protesting. Why? Because that democratically elected leader is with the wrong party. And you're like, what's the wrong party? It's the one I don't believe. It's crazy. It's like saying it's any one of those things. You can have rivalries in sports. It's fun. It's wrestling. Everything's wrestling. But once you once you get yourself worked up into a shoot, that's when you're essentially you run into a place wearing fucking grenades on your chest.
But
And you shoot up an abortion clinic.
Who would work
you're
them-
a piece of fucking shit.
who would work themselves up more into a shoot? Goku or Vegeta? No. No.
The pink guy who's Can you, if there's a way to like edit in one of those Acme I have a joke about that where I'm just like I start it's actually just a crowd work bit essentially that I've been working on for like a year, I think, where I'm just like I just go, hey, what's your favorite religion?
That rules.
And they go, and usually it's so funny. Everybody's had an answer. It's really funny.
Yeah.
They don't. It's either the one they were raised with. One guy actually go. This is the funniest thing. They go because the joke is that I'm trying to get into is talking about everybody being created in God's image, and I go like, and I say that, and they go, I got a least favorite, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he goes, Muslim.
I love that part.
And I'm just like, whoa, but I which is that
part's so funny when you go, I got a least favorite, because it's everyone goes, I know what he means. Don't say it. No.
But he said it.
Abort.
But it's so funny that like that part's the real part. But I'm just like I turned it into the part where I go like, well, we don't know what their gods created it because every time we draw them, they go pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird thing where you're like, when you're that protective of your team, whatever it is, it's crazy because you're fanatical, and there's no other way to put it. You're fanatical. You're crazy.
And you know what? You know what that company that sells sports gear is called? Fanatics. Yeah. Also, we will not be doing a Jewish or Muslim episode.
I will. I'm not
kidding.
scared of you.
No, I don't mind because not growing up, living in Jersey. If you want to find
Tons
out,
of Muslims.
if you want,
Too many.
littered with them.
Way too
No,
many.
if you want to find out that Muslim people are chill and just people, go to Jersey. There's a lot of them there, and Indian people.
Yeah.
I met a lot of nice Indian. No, it's just like it's like with any of them. You're like, yeah, the fucking
Don't let a woman drive.
Yeah,
in front of 'em.
I will say the bad apples of the Muslim community seem to spaz a little harder.
Same thing as
If I'm being honest,
but the same. Yeah, I feel like they're the kablooey guys.
yeah,
You know, at least Christians go kapow kapow kapow. You know what I'm saying?
just
Well, they do have the one. What was the one? The Oklahoma City. That was a big one.
that wasn't religious. That was revenge for Waco.
That was. You're right. That was fanatical,
Yeah,
but different team.
Not a fan.
Team
of what
of
happened.
Guns in the Woods. There's Team Guns in the Woods, or there's Team Guns in the
There's
Woods.
Team Guns in the Woods. There's Team Run Around the Box. Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's
No, it's all interesting because like every religion, well, because that's the other thing too. Like there's always a group of people. I notice it more with like my politics that I have, because there's a lot of people who like will use that to just like be a cunt. And you see more of the people who have similar politics to me, they'll like hyper focus on like Muslim people and shit like that, and they'll always bring up radical Islam, and I go, you know how you get radical Islam? Bomb them nonstop since the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they call it I heard a general call it insurgent math.
Yeah.
You know how he's like, for every one you kill, you've now created 10 more?
Right.
Because it's like, dude, think about it.
Do it in the thousands. Now,
Like,
do the math. Like
that's
it's
the thing,
not
and
gonna
that's
stop. Yeah.
That's where like Ron Paul had that great moment where they're like, he was like saying about how we're over there causing problems. That's why they come here and like fuck us up. And then Giuliani's a big dumbass going, so you're saying we deserve 9/11? I hope you apologize for that. And Ron Paul was like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
And then he basically was like, no, I'm saying, this is where people always get fucked up with the terrorists. They're like, I'm not saying anyone deserves it. I'm saying when you bomb a whole country for a while, they're going to use that to radicalize them to get mad at America, and that's how you get terrorist attacks here. You want Islam to be less radical? Fucking promote anti-war shit then, you fucking retards.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very simple. Like in general, I think if you don't attack another place, that's just essentially that's what they're afraid of, is losing power. Is their disciples discovering this religion and discovering like Buddhism, where they're like, we're not asking you for any money or anything like that. And they're like, what are you, idiots?
Yeah.
You got all these followers, you're not taking anything from them?
I don't know. If a big institution's trying to get you scared, they're not your friend.
Yeah. So
that's
like,
really what it is. That seems like what it is.
any institution, like
Yeah.
a team, a party, a religion, any kind of institution like that.
I will say though, cosplaying for football is fun. Like when you leave it to just during the
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
Like when we watch the game.
I love sports.
Dude, when we all get together and we watch the Eagles, and I pretend like I'm a lifelong Eagles fan, and when we were all together at the fucking bar,
Being a menace.
just being awful people.
Yeah.
And one dude walks by. This is post Super Bowl. One dude walks by in Chiefs gear. 30 people at once just booed him because he
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah.
God damn, it was that fun.
It's so much fun.
But when the game's over, you turn it off.
Right. If that guy goes, hey, you piece of shit, you want to fucking fight me? You go, no, I don't.
I'll kill you in front of
Not-
my whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't fight him.
But it's a situation where it's just like, I'm not willing to die for this.
Yeah.
And I think if you are a little silly. But but when I'm cheering for it, boy, am I living. So I get having faith or love for an institution. But I think overall, once it becomes so detrimental where you're like, now
The Bolts.
I love the Bolts. Hey, I love them. And honestly, I am a proud fan of that team. I know that they are the team of Theseus, where they are going to change over my lifetime. They're going to be completely but there's still like eras of it. Just like bands, just like towns or societies, they change. Things change over time. And you have to learn how that life is finite. Not everything is forever, but you don't let your fear of death control you in a negative light to where you're starting to harm family, friends, or anything because of the belief that you have. I think that's overall the overarching theme that I came up with after this of I don't think there's stop trying to predict the end of the world. Stop trying to pretend like you have any kind of grasp over what's going to happen. None of us really know. Maybe a couple of us do, but like you said, there's nothing. We'll never know. We'll never know until we die. We'll finally have the answer about who was right, what afterlife happens, who was right, who was wrong, and then you get bragging rights.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, just believe what you believe and stop yelling at people. You creeps.
Yeah.
So next week, Buddhism week.
And if your dog tells you to go on a killing spree through New York, don't do it.
Please don't do it.
It's the Son of Sam.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
Something smells good.
We should do a deep dive on school shooter conspiracies.
After Religion Month?
What is like a conspiracy that they're all like fucking build. There's like a warehouse in New Mexico where they build school shooters or something.
Skill shooters.
Ski shears. That's the one thing you're gonna point out. Not the insane thing I just said.
Nope. I believe you
You're
there.
like, Chuck's out. You said that weird.
Yeah. Hey, get the facts right, stupid.
I don't know if any of what I just said is right.
It's all true. I actually just Googled it. I just Googled it here. It's all true. See?
Next week, the last school shooter pope.